Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judicators, members of the House, and the proposition that are respected. In a post-conflict state or countries, the main priority isn't to make the most complex history, but to make sure the divided society can live peacefully in one country as a unity. Why we oppose today's motion is because after post-Civil War, colonialism or regime change, society and peoples is overwhelmed with trauma, distrust to the government, or even to any other groups that don't have the same understanding. And because of that, a history textbook should have built to create a national identity that can assure the social stability and not just to represent all experiences without created by the national standard. Ladies and gentlemen, so the thing that's included in the history textbook is still coherent and can be used as a foundation to all the people without being dominated by just one perspective. It is also to minimize the bias that representative history textbooks contain that can cause disunity. We have to make sure that the story that the public will consume is psychologically safe. Let's get to know and define today's motion. Post-conflict state is a country, state, or region that recently faces a conflict such as post-Civil War, regime change, or colonialism. So let's get to know what is the history textbook. History textbooks refers to the method or perspective and approaches used to write and interpret history. We also use this history textbook to actually learn from the past mistakes and should have be a tool to represent the identity of a country and prioritize unity. Bottom-up historiography focuses on the roles of ordinary people, social groups, and grassroots movement. Meanwhile, top-down historiography focuses on the role of leaders, government, major institution, and collective national narrative in shaping the history. Let's get to know with our arguments, and also I want to rebut the proposition argument. Before of that, let's get to know to our model. Top-down historiography will be the main perspective in history textbook. Meanwhile, the bottom-up historiography can still be used as a complement to analysis or study action. We're not going to remove or erase the contribution of the people, but we oppose the disintegration experiences will be the main focus to the history textbooks, while our society still needs the stability and unity to recover from the conflicts itself. First, we want to rebut the proposition arguments that say the main purpose from historical textbook is to achieve the depth of knowledge and to maximize the way on how to be representative. Ladies and gentlemen, we strongly oppose today's motion. We strongly oppose the proposition argument and 100% disagree because historical textbooks isn't just a tool to study or academic activity, but also have the function to social and politics. In a country that recently just faces a conflict, history should have to build the national identity. When a country is almost collapsed, the society has become disunity, have too many perspectives, too risky, and still have the chances to create any other conflicts. Top-down historiography is more capable to build national identity and to reconciliate with the top-down historiography. It can create more common national story and can create a symbol or national figures together. It makes the society look at themselves as a unity from one country. Meanwhile, bottom-up historiography have their main problem that is each groups can bring their own story and misery. That's the main more validation, and each group can have this perspective that make them feel that they're more hurted one. In consequences, instead of creating the national identity, the group's identity becomes strengthened and weaken the national identity itself. In another side, bottom-up doesn't automatically create a national relatability because people just gonna feel related to their own groups. It's our way to recover to legitimate and the trust from the society to the governance itself. So our second argument is, as we all know, in past conflicts, institutions can lose their people's trust and legitimate. This can make the society gets easier to get influenced by populist politician or group leader. The memory of the conflict itself is still very emotional. The bottom-up historiography itself didn't guarantee the truth or innocence. Even if it's representative, is it the one that represents it can truly be trusted or responsible? Ladies and gentlemen, it can also be used to dominate the identity of ethnicity, religion, and politics. The populist politician can manipulate and can make narration to attack any other groups. Meanwhile, top-down can actually move the focus from the conflicts to the national building and can create common language that can actually strengthen the legitimacy of the national institution. Meanwhile, we can appreciate ordinary people by memorial, museum, local history, cultures, or by remembering it by special day. The impact of this is governance can be more trusted by the society with this top-down historiography. The democracy itself became more stable and the efficiency for the national building. It can also reduce the risk from recreating the same conflicts. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get deeper our knowledge with some of the examples that I have. So let's get to know with our history when Indonesia just faces the colonization from the Dutch. After the colonization in Indonesia have hundreds of ethnicity, languages, and local identity that different. If the history to focus on different experiences each groups have separately, society will just see themselves just as the part of their original identity and not as national society. That's why we actually need this top-down historiography about national struggle to build the identity as one unity first. In a country that just faces conflicts, national figures is actually important to be a collective symbol that is capable to unite and integrate the society. Ladies and gentlemen, this debate isn't debating whether ordinary people is important or not, but what's the most efficient and capable to keep the country stable post-conflict. We choose to build one national identity that can actually secure the unity rather than open a long-time trauma just to be representative. With all the lacks from the proposition argument, me as the first speaker from the negative team strongly oppose and proud to be the opposition. Thank you.